Welcome in. This is Hype Factor, a Fantasy Critic podcast for all the Fantasy Critic enthusiasts out there who just can't get enough talking about Fantasy Critic. I am one of your hosts, John, aka John32, and I am joined by my good friend Marcus. Marcus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, John. We recorded last episode. I was on the Silk Song hype train, and I quickly got off the Silk Song hype train. I played for maybe an hour and a half, and I think I didn't really encounter too much difficulty, but I kept hearing everybody else talking about all this difficulty they were encountering, and I just was not in the mood for that right now. So I put it on pause, and we'll get back to it at some point.
Oh boy. Well, we're going to talk a lot about last episode and all the repercussions that we're feeling through Fantasy Critic this week. But first, I want to say this is episode 12, and today we have a very special guest joining us. I am pleased to introduce a close friend of ours to the podcast today, Sean Capri. For those that know him, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants from Carpool Gaming. And for those unfamiliar with Carpool, it is, for lack of a better term, a podcast network with multiple shows covering all sorts of video game content. And Sean, if I can, maybe what sets it apart, at least in my estimation, is the central role that Carpool plays on the community. And it's just such a pleasure to have you here with us today. How are you doing?
I'm just gonna take the excuse to hang out with you guys. This is nice. I like this. This is it's good to see you guys. Thank you
No,
for
it's a
having me.
pleasure. You know, you've had the chance. I think you've interviewed us a couple times, so we're happy to have you here. Happy to bring you into the fold, and I get a chance to talk with you about Fantasy Critic. How's your night going so far?
Yeah, good. I have to say, guys, I'm a little nervous. This is a very professional show for listeners on the other side. The documentation, the research, like this is not how I podcast. So I'm just here to hopefully not screw it up for you guys. Hopefully have a little bit of fun. But I'm loving the show. Love what you guys are doing, and really proud of you for hitting episode 12 already.
Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this conversation. Sean is the co-host of the Nintendo Drive, co-host of the Xbox Drive. So if you haven't listened to Carpool Gaming, I encourage everybody to go out there. But for today, let's get into this chat with Sean about Fantasy Critic.
Topic of the month.
So Sean, I think for as long as Marcus and I have both known you, at least since I've been a member of the Carpool community, you've been participating in Fantasy Critic quite extensively. Do you remember how you first got involved?
I want to say it was through the PSVG crew. I think it was Dr. Garrett Bland and crew running everything over there. Because I think the first time that I was in a league, I paid money to do it, and that was a mistake. Like, that's not how you learn. That's not a good place to learn and have fun. I'm pretty sure it was there, but the reason, I mean, my memory is fuzzy at the best of times. So, and we're now talking about, I don't know how many years ago at this stage. But things piled on quickly when you start to have fun with something. You're like, when can I do more? How can I jump on more? And you don't just have one Fantasy Critic, league or anything. You participate in many. So eventually, yeah, I got involved with Badbit and Kyle Stevenson, who you guys had on a couple of months ago as well. And so, yeah, it's just been a wild ride now, kind of settling into just one team with the Carpool crew, just because I think I would love to talk to you guys about managing multiple teams. Also, what I found was like I was making the same decisions like across multiple teams. And if I wasn't making the same decisions, I was like, I felt like I was betting against myself or for myself. Of course, I overcomplicated it as I overthought it. But I'm happy to maybe simplify and just focus on one right now. I don't know if you guys talk about that at all. Do you like multiple teams, multiple leagues?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in 4 leagues this year, Sean, and so
Yeah.
my teams do look all very similar. I feel like I'm often talking about
Right.
I've got this game in 3 leagues, and I've got this one in 2, and
Yes.
when one of them comes out, it really impacts what my scores are going to do. Totally.
I mean, for you, Marcus, though, like I feel like you have you have your eye on games that aren't hitting everybody's radar. So like that's your secret sauce. Like so that it might be similar, but it's dissimilar to the roster that everybody else is putting together. Like, I don't know, dude. Like I have Call of Duty in a lot of years. I have, Marvel. My big get this year was Donkey Kong. Like I was pretty stoked about that. It's like the most famous game, notorious game, released in 2025 almost. Like there's no hidden gems. I don't think. I might be being too hard on myself, but I think that makes it tricky when I don't know like those hidden gems. It's tricky not to have like the exact same team every time.
I'd say given where you're standing in the carpool standings, which by the way, yes, maybe you're in one league right now, but there's 30 people in that league, right? There's three conferences, 30 people. I would say it's quite competitive. So you may not be after those hidden gems, but I think we're going to talk a little bit about where you are in those standings and how it kind of fits into
Sure.
the big picture of Fantasy Critic. So maybe dive a little bit deeper into what you just mentioned. So when you are playing Fantasy Critic, kind of what is your strategy to building a team? Like, as someone in your position, for those that don't know or may not be familiar with Carpool, like you have reviewed games in the past, you put a lot of video essays as well. Has that changed your approach at all? Does it change your strategy when you're engaging with this type of thing?
Here's the best plug that I can give on your show for your show. I listen to you guys.
Jesus.
My strategy is like, because I think you guys have a lot of really good things to say about this kind of stuff. Like, especially Marcus, you're really heavy on like the pedigree and the history of like certain developers and things like that. I think you guys were just recently talking too about like staying away from multiplayer games. And I don't know that I would really have specified that as like a rule of thumb for me, but that's definitely what I do. Like I look at my roster and it's like, I don't think there's any multiplayer really there at all. So I try to do a little bit of that. I think, Jon, I love the way that you kind of split the head and the heart kind of mentality. Like there is a mix of both for me, for sure. There's some things I think are fairly sure things, but also things that I just want to do really, really well. Uh, this is all to say, though, sometimes I just kind of like throw up my hands and go like, I have no idea, like really, really what's going to happen. We can all be sure. And your pixel procrastinate, I can't even say the word. When you're guessing what's going to happen, I think that's a good indication of that. Sometimes you can sound in the moment while you're recording. This thing is definitely going to happen. Like Civilization 7, like Civ 7, man. What happened? I think that's one example that speaks to many in that sort of vein. So I don't really know. Sometimes I also think like there's going to be like there's a lot of socio-economic, a lot of political kind of stuff that happens that seeps into games media, and sometimes I think that's going to impact certain games, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't really know. I could understand and I could wrap my head around really any sort of thing that happened, but it's tough to really, really guess. As far as reviewing games, I feel like I'm just seeing like this weird shift in reviews. And I don't actually know where it's headed, but it doesn't seem to be as like, um, there's just a lot of voices, I guess. There's a lot of different takes. And so that definitely changes things. It's difficult for us to land on what makes a 9 out of 10 a 9 out of 10. Just seems to be like, is everybody in a good mood today? Then we're giving out 10s, So I think there's maybe a little bit of that, but that's just, I don't know. We could probably talk about this for an hour, to be honest with you, and really, really break it down. But I do seem to see a shift in both the way games are reviewed, what people are like, what matters to people, what they're willing to either overlook or not overlook. So some things are overlooked and you get a nice high score. Some things are not overlooked and it just buries a game. Like Star Wars Outlaws. Oh, there's stealth, 4 out of 10. Like, you know what I mean? Like I just, and Star Wars, there's going to be like a couple of these specific examples that pop up here and there, but Star Wars Outlaws, I just feel like people had it out for Ubisoft and they've had it out for Ubisoft here as well. So it kind of depends maybe even on like the publisher and or developer, like what's the general take on Ubisoft. Like I'm not putting probably any Ubisoft games in my Fantasy Critic. And I love those games. I love the Prince of Persia games that they've have out. I've loved Assassin's Creed. I will say, I think I did actually bank on Assassin's Creed this year. So that was the one. But when I reviewed it and got lit up in the comments, all right, little bro, how much did Ubisoft pay you for this pause review? I'm sorry, dude, nothing. I just had a great time with this game. And I think it's big and beautiful and it's well crafted and it looks like they gave a damn. Positive score from me. Like, I don't know what you want from me, So I think that there's a loud voice in the comment section. And I also think that there's almost like a reaction to it from some reviewers. Not all. I think some who are fairly seasoned, they can get past that. They don't have to worry about what the comments are going to say. But not everybody is, grizzled review veterans out there. Some people are sort of new to it, and their scores that they give end up on Fantasy Critic. They end up on Open Critic and Metacritic and things like that. So lots to break down there for sure. I don't know if I fully like gave you a singular answer, but a lot of thoughts on the question, I guess.
And I think it does like point to how we try to evaluate not so much what the game is going to be, but what the reviewers are going to say about where the game
We always
is,
talk
and
Right.
about
kind of
zeitgeist,
predicting.
right? So, John, I think that's kind of what you're
Yeah,
talking
100%.
about. Like, it can be kind of tricky sometimes to really like figure out how much zeitgeist is going to play into a review, an ultimate like an aggregated review score.
Totally.
Like there are some examples where it's a little bit easier. Like I always think of Suicide Squad. There's just the talk around this game leading up to it was just not great, and I think
Dead on arrival.
that it
Didn't have a
did not
chance.
have a
Yep.
chance. There was no world in which that game was going to score 80 plus, 85 plus.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, if kind of the best case scenario you're looking at is high 70s, is it worth the risk at that point? And with the kind of because the downside is way worse than high 70s. It could be what it ended up being. I think it was like high 50s, low 60s, right? What it ended up settling.
I have a question for you guys when it comes to this kind of stuff too. I feel like there's more games being released now more than ever. Of course, we're always seeing games delayed and stuff. Like, you almost don't even have to be that picky. You don't have to go that far deep in the roster. I guess it depends on the conference or the league that you're in, how many teams there are, how many, like a lot of different variables, I think, at play there. But certainly with more games being released now more than ever, it's not like you have to like really search to fill your roster. There's lots of great games, and it's just deciding which one's going to make it. Which one can you choose that hasn't been already chosen? How do you allocate all your bidding resources and things like that? Like, I could see why you guys want a podcast about this. It's really fun, you know what I mean?
yeah. Famously, I like probably like went way all in too early this year. Like I would have been way better off being patient in both my leagues, just being patient and waiting because I would have been. There's a couple games out there that I would have been happier to have on my team now than some of the things that have already been reviewed, right? And it was just because you're always nervous at the start of the year, need to fill up, need to get those locks in, especially games that have release dates. But truthfully, yeah, you're right. There feels like there's like an onslaught this year of just really good games. I would have been better off just holding out till now.
Yeah.
And
I
we're going
feel
to
like
touch
June is an
on,
important part of the year. Sorry to interrupt, but I feel like
yeah,
June, like, you know, that E3 kind of season. And then if I don't have like a full roster June-ish, I'm probably starting to get pretty nervous at that stage. Although even this year, maybe we'll get into it. Still, what are we? September, the end of September as we record this, still a lot of games we think might get 2025 release dates. So
Yeah.
not all hope is lost for anybody still waiting to select a few things out there.
yeah, one in particular that you're waiting for. We know. We're watching your team, Sean. We know what you're waiting for. Cosmic Invasion needs that date, and we know you're waiting
Yeah.
for it. That's a big deal for your team this year. So, you know,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it
fine.
does. I hoping it gets pushed.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay, so next, you've already mentioned Civ. I think like that for me is definitely one of the biggest surprises of the season. Do you have any that really stand out to you, Sean, whether they're on your roster or otherwise? Just games that really surprised you, positively or negatively this year?
I think the positive stuff has really, really been surprising me this year. I expected Clair Obscur to do well. I was not expecting Clair Obscur to do 92,
Yeah.
you know? And so like Hollow Knight is very recent as well. And I'm trying to decide like in this moment whether or not I was surprised by it or not, because Hollow Knight is objectively a great game. Like the first one is great. They spent 7 years to get it. We heard all the stories that they just had a great time developing this game. How would it not score well? I guess it's kind of what we just talked about. It depends on if anybody's in a good mood, if they get hung up on the difficulty, XYZ, that kind of stuff. Those ones were like pretty surprising. I'm generally surprised by the things I'd never heard of before. And this is where I upset Marcus because I didn't listen closely enough. Like I missed Blueprints.
Yeah.
Like you guys were all over Blueprints, and it's like, I guess there's just too many games.
There are a lot
like,
of games.
This is an ongoing thing for me that I forget the things that people tell me all the time. Like I said, my memory is pretty terrible, but like, let's be fair. There's a lot to keep track of.
So much. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess some of the other things I want to look into our own Fantasy Critic with Carpool Gaming. There's been Civ 7 is really the big
that one really shocked me. I was so all in on that right from the very beginning. I thought it was a lock for high 80s, and to see it at a 79 is Yeah.
One that didn't get enough reviews, and I know you guys talked about DLC on the last episode. It's on my roster. It's the Dave the Diver DLC with dude from Like a Dragon. Like it's like this
Yep.
crossover. I just felt like that crossover was
Yeah.
as a sure thing as it gets, especially DLC. And it didn't get enough reviews. And honestly, that probably helped me, I think. Because
Right. That's right.
I
'Cause, yeah.
think people didn't like it. So it's probably better to
Yeah.
just keep me like net zero on that. That's probably my worst performing pick of the year, was my DLC pick.
We're gonna check out some DLC scores today. They're pretty bad.
Yes.
It is shockingly bad.
Well, I was going to advocate to you guys, like maybe next year for Carpool, maybe we just don't do the DLC slot. Like I just, although it is such a wild card factor, it's kind of like the Mario Party bonus stars, you know, like it's kind of nonsense, but it really changes up the game. Maybe a little bit.
Between that and remasters, people think it's a lock, right? I did. I had Indiana Jones. I thought it was a lock. We're going to look at that score. It's sitting at a 72. Like it's like almost a 15-point differential from where the base game is.
Yeah.
So,
well, look at Starfield. Starfield's DLC. Was that last year? Did that come out this year?
The DLC
I think that was last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's always a bit of a crapshoot. But you mentioned the Carpool League, and we've talked about how there's 30 people, 3 conferences. It's quite active, I would say, in comparison to some other leagues. We've also seen a real uptick in continued engagement this past year. I would say, like significant competition for the top of the leaderboard. The 3 of us included in that, in different conferences, but all competing for that final top spot at the end of the year. And still very tight race. I guess rather than talking about the competition there, maybe like how do you see fantasy critics intersection with kind of what you do to drive community engagement?
I think it gives people a reason to stay active in the Discord is maybe the best way, because like I actually don't know that it really like shows up too much in the content itself. But to your point, yeah, we've always had kind of like this unspoken to the public, but certainly some things that we talk about as a team, like how do we make the Discord a place for people wanting to hang out? And, you know, part of it is people say good morning to each other every single day. There's birthday celebrations. There's all sorts of different ways for people to like meet each other, like the backtrackers and now the book crafters. Like there's all these kind of like sub communities, these sub groups. And I think that Fantasy Critic is just one of those ways for people who care about that sort of thing. Like they can really care about it. And there's a nice, cool space for that to happen. I think that might be the secret sauce. But it's interesting kind of breaking it down after the fact, because really the approach was just, like I said, just following the lead in the community. Like when we start to see sort of like clumps of people kind of gathering together, it's like, okay, there's something there, and we kind of see what else we can put behind it. And it's always been like the best parts about Carpool, I think, are the community driven stuff. And I have you guys to thank for that. Like there's very little that the Carpool crew really, really does on this front. It's organized by the community, and they, you just, as a content creator, I don't know if you guys feel the same. I certainly do. Like you just sort of like hope you put something out there and you hope that somebody will find it and somebody will latch onto it and resonate, and it will activate them. And so for this piece, it's really interesting because Carpool isn't necessarily like a super sweaty community. Like we're probably more of like probably more cozy more than anything. And the Fantasy Critic is probably the most competitive thing happening in the Carpool. Like there's an actual competition, there's winners and losers. And so I think one of the nice things about it is because it's community driven, and the community happens to be sort of like that cozy kind of like everybody gets along kind of thing. It's a nice blend of there's natural winners and losers, and there's also people who kind of like just like to be there and they're just having fun playing along, you know, so it doesn't really get them down too much. As somebody who wants to see everything I'm involved in grow, I'm always kind of like thinking about, for those who aren't like all in, I watch, you know, some of the folks who have not every slot filled and some people maybe drop off after the draft. Like I think quite a lot about what to do about those folks specifically, and then folks like that. Is there another version of this that we create that speaks more to them, where, you know, some people just really like the draft, and I'm definitely one of them. The draft is like the most hyped time of the year. It's the best part of January or late December, whatever. It's great. And some people just want to do that. So maybe there's a version of that. I literally talking off the top of my head here. Maybe there's a version of that where it's just drafts. And you just do that, and that's
Yeah.
your team for the rest of the year. There is no bidding, there's no dropping, there's no anything. It's just you just do that. Or maybe you could do it quarterly as well. Like there's a for those of us who've been doing Fantasy Critic, it's nice that it's a year-long commitment and there's ups and downs and there's drama and everything. But yeah, maybe there's more bite-sized ways for people to get their traction.
We always say it's a long season. Like it's longer than any other sports, fantasy, anything, right? It's a full calendar year, right?
Right. Yeah. I guess, yeah. Football's,
Yeah.
18 weeks, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we've talked about here is like trying to break down the intimidation factor. To your point, like it can be competitive, but there's also a lot of learning and a lot of fun that just kind of goes along with it. So how do you just encourage it? I think the idea of potentially just a draft league where people can make moves if they want, but otherwise you're just kind of full up and ready to go with a more smaller size team makes sense. I think I gotta go and check this, but I believe the Critics Royale, which is the other version of Fantasy Critic that's kind of within the Fantasy Critic Discord, is also quarterly. So it's exactly that. It's
There you go.
more winners, more opportunities to engage, probably more chances. But I like the idea of more than one draft. That would be fun also, especially like post Summer Game Fest to your earlier point. So it's
There's
really
so many ways
interesting.
to slice it. You guys
Yeah.
have your, like, almost like a mini game here on the podcast as well. Just like guess what's coming up in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Lots of different ways to slice it. But nonetheless, I do feel like I get a sense. I'm always curious from people who have, their eye or their ear to the ground. They always seem to know all these different types of games. For me, this is an active part of that, of trying to understand what are games that are out there that I don't know anything about. There's a lot of different thoughts that people have, I think, on review scores and whether or not reviews matter or don't matter and all these things. Like, I tend to lean that they do matter. Whether or not the numbers mean anything, I think is still maybe up for debate. But just from an awareness standpoint, I do think it's important to understand there's some of these games that are getting some traction, some awareness, some people are talking about it, and positively or negatively. So I think it's important, and I'm stoked that you guys are doing this show, man. It's so great.
I got another one for you here, Sean. So John and I have talked a little bit about like the impact that Fantasy Critic has had on our maybe appreciation of video games and how we've maybe approached video games in our lives that is completely separate from Fantasy Critic. I'm curious if you've ever thought about that or if that's impacted you in any way.
How could it not? How could it not change things when you become like a student of something? Yeah, your understanding of that thing becomes obviously much much deeper. Maybe I'll compare it to this. Sometimes I'll listen to some music. I think that's a pretty decent song, but then I'll hear from like the singer or the songwriter like what it's about or what they were going through when they wrote it, and like instantly my appreciation for it increases. And I think maybe the study of Fantasy Critic and the before, during, and after review seasons and all these things, like I think maybe that speaks to that. Like you just gain a better understanding of the review process. What are people saying? Like you just enrich your awareness of the games themselves and the commentary that people are providing against. I think there's like a whole entire like vocabulary or vernacular that we all sort of like adopt when talking about games that actually gets enhanced when you study it maybe in this way. So then you study it and then you go play the game. Then now you're podcasting, you form your own opinions, you put it on the record, you have to sort of like defend it. Yeah, like it becomes like it just is reinforced in your maybe even in your DNA. Like it actually impacts other areas of your life, I would argue as well. But I think it's just the hyper focus on it more than anything. Like it's things that you just notice that you weren't noticing before, like blueprints.
Like I still haven't played it.
Neither have I. And it's interesting. Sometimes high scores and a lot of commentary about games will get me to give it a try. Time is the ultimate limiter, for us. So can't get around to everything, but man, that game just kind of came out of nowhere. And I don't think I would have even known about it if the scores weren't what they were.
Played it because of Fantasy Critic, honestly. And I freaking loved it. It's one of my top games of the year. And I don't think I would have even engaged with that if it wasn't for this podcast and for Fantasy Critic. So yeah, it's a perfect point.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Like Sean's going to stick around for the rest of the episode, which is awesome because you're going to get to engage with some of the material. But I did want to just say thank you for coming on and for letting us get the chance to interview you a little bit. Because of
Oh.
turning the tables. If those out there haven't listened to We the Gamercast, there's an awesome back catalog of We the Gamercast is another podcast that Sean did for many years with excellent conversations with strangers from the internet. And dare I say, it's just really good content that is maybe evergreen. People should go and listen to it if they haven't. So thank you for that. And you
Thanks,
can
man.
also find Marcus on there on a couple episodes. So if you want to hear more from Marcus,
Yeah,
you can find him
from
there.
a while ago.
So with
It's been a
that,
while.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a while, but yeah. All right, let's get into the news.
Let's get into the news.
Okay, so first thing I just want to say, I think we had a Nintendo Direct. That's pretty big. There was lots of news in that Direct that's supposed to, it's affecting both 2025 but also 2026. So let's just deal with 2025 out the gate. Um, Galaxy 1 and 2, basically a remaster, or as Donnie Reese likes to call it, a Wii Master, which is amazing, out on October 2nd. This game, by the time this podcast is live, there's going to be maybe one more opportunity to pick it up on Fantasy Critic. But what do we think about Galaxy 1 and 2 combo pack? Worth the risk here or not?
I'm hesitant, to be honest. I feel like I don't think this is a
Hmm.
guarantee. I really don't. I feel like
Wait. To get reviewed or
oh
to
no, it'll get
like what is
reviews.
not
It'll get
what?
reviews. I'm
Hmm.
not sold that this is like a lock score. I feel like it's all going to depend on how much they do to it. If this is just a port, which it
Hmm.
sounds like from what I've heard, I'm not as tapped into Nintendo as either you guys are. So maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but if this is just a straight port, I don't know, man. People Nintendo tends to get the benefit of the doubt, maybe more than the publishers, the other big players here. But I don't know. I feel like how did that 3D Mario All Star Collection? How did that one score?
83.
Huh?
83.
83. See, that's not
83.
crazy. That's not high 80s, low 90s, where the original games original.
It's because I had sunshine on it. Sorry.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. I had to.
Could be, but I don't know, man. I
No.
could see 83. I could see it falling right in that neighborhood. And is that's a pretty safe game, and I'd love a team full of games with 83s, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sold.
Dude, this game's 89,
Yeah.
90.
89.
I think.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. So this gives me a good opportunity to maybe throw another sort of thing, a consideration into the mix, into the recipe of decision making, especially with such a heavy season of remasters. The Wii came out in 2006, 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. These games were 2007, 2009, that kind of thing, like in that era. Okay. We're about 20 years after that. All the kids who the first game was Galaxy and Galaxy 2, they're reviewing these games right now. I think the nostalgia factor is going to hit for people who buy it, and I think the nostalgia factor is going to be massive for the people who review it. To your point, Marcus, the three, and I've been vocal about this on the Nintendo Drive, and probably even before that when I was podcasting with Bobby. That 3D All Stars collection is an atrocity. I hate it. I can't stand the lack of attention to detail, the lack of polish, just brutal compared to my precious Mario All Stars cartridge on the Super Nintendo. Defined the bar for, and it basically was like the first remaster we ever really saw. With Mario 1, 2, 3, and The Lost Worlds. Like it's an immaculate collection. And then they sully it with they just poop it out. They just sat on the toilet and out comes 3D Mario or 3D All Stars. And I just don't like it. So that has me like wondering, to your point, Marcus, what's the treatment going to be of this? I've looked into it a little bit, John. I don't know if you agree. But I do think it's going to be a little better than that. Has the benefit of not having sunshine. And yeah, I think this one's going to be scoring pretty high, actually.
Yeah. Well, Galaxy 2 is there. That's the one that hasn't been out previous.
Yep.
I thought I saw that there's like some mouse control engagement with the second one, so it looks like they've done something to it. There's some like 4K stuff on Switch 2 edition, so maybe there'll be something there. The two things that like make me hesitant, which I don't know if this really comes into play, but is one the price tag. They're getting kind of slammed over like the price tag, and specifically the fact that Galaxy One was in the first collection, and now people are potentially, if they want a physical
You
copy,
can't buy that
rebuying it.
now,
So
though, can you?
yeah, I
Because
don't
they
know.
did
I
that.
honestly
My
don't think
goodness.
that's. Yeah, I think it's probably going to score well. I don't think it's going to break the Fantasy Critic bank. It's not going to like push somebody over the edge. I don't think.
Mm.
But I'd like to have it on my team. If I had space, I
Yeah,
probably would do it.
dude,
But
I didn't even. I watched the direct. I reacted to the direct. I've covered this game's coming out. I totally blanked because,
yeah,
and maybe we'll get into the league a little bit later. Like I've looked at my, for better or for worse, I look at my roster and I feel like it's done.
Yeah.
And I don't. I
well,
think I've
you're in
got
a
two
good spot.
games. I think I've got Outer
Yeah,
Worlds 2 and yeah, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Um, those are the only spots, and I don't even know what I would do. Would I drop Marvel for Galaxy? I probably would. I
you would.
probably would.
Well then,
Yeah, because it's
yeah,
guaranteed because it has a release date
yeah.
and it's that's an easy decision actually. Now that I think about it, for more than a split second. And so
Only
we
the
saw
release.
somebody had taken it in our league, and I was like, and I just missed it.
Mm.
So gotta
Yeah,
always be paying attention, man,
yeah.
all year round. You got to be stay vigilant out there.
Anytime there's any Nintendo action, you gotta
Especially Nintendo.
put
Yeah.
that fancy critic lens on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
On that Dragon Drive,
But what are you
maybe
gonna do?
not so much.
Yeah, I should have waited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, the next thing I want to quickly flag was Donkey Kong Bonanza got a DLC, which dropped, I think, that same day or around the same time as the direct. Except continuing the trend, it's out now, but sitting at 69 on OpenCritic, and we no longer talk about DLC here.
It's
This is just
crazy.
getting
Wow.
ridiculous. Yeah, like that's an even bigger drop. That's a 20, what is that, 22-point drop from where Donkey Kong Bonanza is sitting. So I don't even know anymore. Don't draft DLC. I'm just gonna avoid it altogether from here
Good
on
thing
in.
we
So
couldn't. I don't even because that was a shadow drop to your point.
no,
Like
it's basically a shadow drop,
yeah,
but like the fact that it's so low is just insane to me.
man,
But
people are thanking their lucky stars that they couldn't even get a chance to draft it in there or bid on
yeah,
it because
It
people
would
would
have
have
been
and they would have
picked
spent.
up. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Universally.
hmm
Yeah.
you're right.
Yep. There's a parallel universe out there where people are crying, man.
And then we got a couple good news items, which are release dates. Metroid Prime 4 is coming out on December 4th, which was, Marcus, one of your locks
It
early in the season.
was.
How are you feeling about Metroid Prime 4 as a lock this year?
I'm happy we got a date finally, so that's good. I think it'll probably be okay. But I don't love December 4th as a release date for this game. I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know what that says about the game. That there's this. I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it.
What was your take on Metroid Prime 4 in terms of how it's showing?
Man, what a tough one, dude. Like I actually don't know if the date is entering my calculations here as much as Marcus maybe, but that last showing didn't really do it for me. And I was talking about on the Nintendo Drive as well, and I realized that the trailer for Tamagotchi Life had me more kind of just
Mm,
interested. And I don't know why. It's just goofy, and I'm kind of like, kind of a goofy guy anyways. And I haven't really played. This is a personal kind of side of things. I've never played a Metroid Prime game. They shadow dropped the remaster. I bought it that day, and I didn't play it. Like I'm such an idiot. Like that led to me not buying games in 2024. So it's just a whole other bag of worms over here. So I don't. I'm kind of with you, Marcus. Like, what do you even say about this? There's pedigree here. The Metroid Prime games are well liked, well received, well made. There's been more than enough time to make this excellent. By all accounts, this should be very, very high. Uh, but still, I'm not sure. I kind of need to see it direct. Like they're not doing a direct for this thing. This is a whole other Nintendo
yeah.
side of things. So I'm not sure yet. They kind of lost me with the motorcycle bit, to be honest with you, but we'll see.
Do we have a
Yeah.
history of Nintendo releasing games in early December that are really bangers for them?
I want to say Xenoblade
Okay.
has come out in
Okay.
December.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's more of a financial decision in terms of like the type of IP and how they market,
Yeah.
or where they see like the strength behind that IP, rather more so than critical acclaim.
Yeah.
So I think you're still fine. This is still retro. It's going to be a good game. Maybe the ceiling's a little lower than when you first thought,
Yeah.
Marcus, but I think it's still going to be
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. And then Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment got dated for November 6th, which is also a little bit odd, but it's out there. And I think a lot of people have this on, like, I think this is already picked up in a lot of leagues. So I'm never big on these games for Fantasy Critic, but this one probably, you know, I'm going to guess it's going to be in like low 80s. So showing well.
Yeah, I
People
think
seem
if you have
hyped.
room in your roster, you probably should go after it, but it'd be tricky to make a recommendation on if you've already got a full slate.
Yeah. Like, what do you drop for it is kind of the question mark
Exactly.
that I think a lot of
Hmm.
people are dealing with. Um,
Mixtape.
then, well, yeah. Yes.
Sorry. Where is
Uh,
it?
where is it? Yes, is the question. And then we got a date for Hades 2. September 25th is the release date. But this game was already in early access, so for many, many leagues, including the Carpool League, it's probably not it's not eligible, so it's not super relevant. Um, and then just moving on, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection also got a release date, which is October 30th, which I do think is relevant because I think this is hopefully going to be good. I am banking on this. It is the last game to release on one of my leagues,
Oh, you
and
do
I
have
hope
it.
it
Yeah.
scores. I do have it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a big number beside that
I think
October
we've
30th
talked
date.
about this one
So
before. I feel it's a pretty safe bet. Like I feel like it's probably not a super high ceiling, but definitely not a very low floor either. Like we're talking,
Agreed.
like 80 to
yeah.
83. Like it's pretty narrow. 79 to
Oh,
82 or
I need
something like
more.
that.
I need more than that.
Well.
I need it to be like an 88.
Have you guys done an episode on collections like this before? Like, I love the DLC focus conversation last time. Like, it'd be interesting because it's part of the equation, I think, as far as reviewing a collection is, of course, the quality of the games themselves. But there's also like this treatment that happens with these, especially these retro style collections. Like, what, how are they honored? How are they? What's the tribute like? Like, is there extras that you can dive into? Rare Replay comes to mind for me as well as a very high bar in this regard. And so, yeah, like I'm very curious because I'm not sure how many people are going to be stoked to play the Mortal Kombat on Game Boy, so it's not exactly going to blow anybody's hair back. So it's going to be more than just the games themselves. And it does look like, to this game's credit, it looks like it really is honoring the legacy and the importance of Mortal. It's such a massive game. Like, it's hard to overstate. Like, it really changed the world, for better or for worse. Like, I think we have ESRB ratings because of Mortal Kombat. So pretty incredible. So we'll see how this, I think you're right. Like, pretty safe bet to have on your roster.
We have not done one on
No,
collections,
write it
but I'm
down.
going to add
Write
that
it
to our
down.
list.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
write it down. We did want to do something in the future, probably on remasters, because that's a whole other kettle of fish, also, where
Dude,
people
so good.
really just go hard. But I think collections in its own right. I'm usually scared of them. Oh, in Mortal Kombat, maybe it's just the pedigree of the brand that I'm going with it. But I'm usually scared of it. But we have a long history of other ones I can think off the top of my head that did pretty good, including this year. I think the Gradius collection was in the low
Yes.
80s this year. So yeah, you're right. The treatment sometimes is more important than the
And
actual
if I'm
games
not
in terms
mistaken
of
as
collection.
well, John, I think the devs, I guess, that are putting this collection
Mm,
together have done a bunch that have been quite well. Didn't they do the
very
Atari
successful.
one and maybe the
I
Right.
think so.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the Atari one was another one I was thinking of as
yeah.
well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, keep an eye peeled for that at some point in the future. That's a good suggestion. We normally don't cover 2026. We try and keep it fantasy critic relevant for this year, but I think very quickly we'll touch on some big announcements as we are starting to turn our eye to next season and what we need to start valuing. So, a couple big things to note in terms of Nintendo first party. So, first, we got Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which look lovely. I don't know where we're going to rank that. Maybe I'll just run through these and then we can talk about them in a bunch. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, Mario Tennis Fever, which looked like, unlike other Nintendo sports games, had lots of things they were showing. Pokemon Pokopia, and then Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. So I don't know where you guys want to start, but I know I have some thoughts. I also sent you some information, some background information that I think is relevant. But why don't we just like open it up? Where do you want to begin?
I feel like the discussion should kind of begin and almost end with Fire Emblem. I feel like that's the one out of these that is really the only one that I care about. Mario Tennis, I think, like um, the Mario sports games can be really hit or miss. And I don't know who's making this. So again, you guys will probably be able to speak to that sort of stuff better than me. Yoshi, doesn't score particularly well in my head, at least.
Yeah.
And Pokemon, I really have no idea. This Pokopia, I haven't even seen the trailer. I've only heard people talking about this, so I don't really know too much about it. But Fire Emblem is easily in my head of these four, like the lock as the one that is the just. It's going to score well, probably mid to high 80s, easy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Well, I was just going to say, you sent along a very helpful link, the Metacritic, every Nintendo franchise ranked worst to best, and somehow I think Pokemon takes the lowest 5 slots or something like that. Like in all of its spin-offs and all of its different things, it's really interesting. I'm sure I haven't scrolled even all the way to the top. I'm sure there's more mainline stuff that ranks a little bit better. This is why Nintendo's really tricky for me, because I love Nintendo, and I think Nintendo's probably going to sell 1 trillion copies of all of these things. Like I think that's the difference. And you guys obviously focus on the review scores. There's no commercial success really consideration factor at all. Like this isn't commercial success factor. That'd be so. Although maybe somebody can make an interesting podcast about that. Yeah, I wouldn't touch Yoshi with a 10-foot pole. I wouldn't touch Mario Tennis Fever as far as this goes. I've even claimed I would love to buy this, but I ain't doing it day one. I will absolutely wait on reviews to see, and maybe even watch a stream or two for that one. But I wouldn't count on this in my Fantasy Critic, not even a little bit. There's no. No. Are you, John? Are you? Don't be fooled. Don't be
I'm just
fooled.
throwing the mind
If you
games early, Sean. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry
I get
about
it. Like it looked, and because you can be kind of wooed by it. I think it looked good. It looks like, oh, it looks like they've fixed everything that we've always been upset about with the recent Mario sports games. It's all going to be great. And yeah, I've been there like 3 times in the Switch console
Yeah.
lifespan. So we'll wait and see.
We've
I'm
been
still
burned
hopeful. That
before.
doesn't mean I'm not hopeful. I'm just not like willing to bet my success on it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add this. So Fire Emblem for sure, to me is actually a first round pick next year. Like lock it in at some point in the first round, maybe middle of the first round. I think it's going to release. It's going to have a date. I think it's going to be in the mid to high 80s, and I very very confident drafting that game as a first round pick. So yes, I agree on Yoshi. Let's put Yoshi to the side for a second. Mario Tennis Fever, I wouldn't bet on it either. I think you're right, Sean, but it did look more full than what they've shown before. So I think this is one where many people will pass. A couple of people will take a risk on it and they might be rewarded, but we're pretty risk averse here. So it's probably not going to be something we draft.
I think if I had a second team, maybe if I had like and this is
Hmm.
my just logging my notes for next year already. Maybe if I had like a go all out crazy team, and maybe I've got another team. Like I need a theme behind the team. That's how I can wrap my head around multiple teams that aren't exactly the same. I'm gonna have like certain risk risk tolerances, like my mutual funds or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
like my investments.
Hedge your bets, yeah.
Exactly.
What if I told you that Pokemon Pokopia is the same developer that did Dragon Quest Builders, though? And does that start changing your mind at all? At all? Dragon Quest Builders, I think, was low 80s or 83 on Open Critic. Dragon Quest Builders 2 was an 85. It starts going up, and then you attach Pokemon to it.
I think the way you guys talk about this is really good as far as like what's the ceiling and what's the floor. I think on both it's a giant gap.
Hmm.
I think the
Yeah.
floor is as low as 60. I think the ceiling is maybe in the mid 80s. I think is maybe the ceiling for this one. So it's just tough because the potential is there. Like that's the thing about Lego and Pokemon. I think in kind with each other. There's so many ideas you can throw at these different IP, and it's just a matter of I guess that the team there should be able to make that work. We'll see if they've had enough time to really bring their vision to life. I have a lot of hope for it, even just from a fun factor. So, but again,
Yeah.
there's so many Pokemon spinoffs that rank so poorly.
No, that's fair. And the Metacritic site that Sean was referencing is if you go on the Metacritic website, they've done this like exercise where they've ranked basically every franchise, every Nintendo franchise, and accumulated their or aggregated their Metacritic scores, so you can actually see where things land typically based on their history. And Fire Emblem uh, is 14th all time of top 50, and it's pretty consistent with some very few outliers. So yeah, definitely the one to look for next year, and it showed really well. I really liked what I saw there. So
You're confident in the date that it gets released?
yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
they don't miss. They don't release more than like, especially Fire Emblem. They typically do like an early year. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident they'll get that out the door.
My hesitation has actually nothing to do with Fire Emblem specifically. It's just everything misses these days, so
That's
there's
fair.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
delays. Yeah.
The other thing that happened this month is Acclaim is back. Acclaim is back, and Claim had a direct, except nothing had a date, or it's already out. So nothing for Fantasy Critic. But I thought it was interesting. Acclaim is back.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett and all that. Fun times. Maybe a little bit more relevant is 6-1 Indie did have a showcase on September 18th, and this one was pretty interesting and did have a couple things that I think people should be keeping an eye out. I'm just going to hit a couple of them, maybe some of the highlights. Mr. Sleepy Man. If you guys seen the hype around Mr. Sleepy Man, still just has a 2025 date. There's no like firm release date, but they're still saying it's coming this year. It's an adventure platformer.
With a
I've seen a lot of
killer
different
track. My goodness, that song is
killer
catchy.
track.
It's so catchy. Yeah.
There were some good rhymes, and I
Yeah.
saw lots of different people getting very excited about this. I don't know how this is going to score, truthfully, but it's just one of those things that's supposedly coming out this year that could still hit. The other thing that was getting some interesting feedback was Gecko Gods. This was like a reality show with gods. Coming out supposedly in fall 2025. Again, I don't have a lot of background on this. I don't know if this is something I bid on, but wasn't sure if you had a chance to take a look at this one.
Gecko Gods. This was not the reality show one. This is like literally like an open world gecko running around.
Oh,
Yeah, I think you're.
which one is it?
I
Which one am
can't
I thinking of?
remember the name of the one you're referencing, but yeah,
Okay.
but
Oh yes, the gecko running, the open.
yeah, it's like an open world
Yeah, no,
puzzle
don't
solving.
pick this
Yeah,
up.
I think that it's
Yeah,
probably a pass. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
yeah,
fine. It looks fun,
that's
but I
fair.
don't see a high ceiling for this one.
Yeah. Maybe call out a couple other ones that came out. Nocturnal 2 is just showing as Q4 2025. Um, Looked cool. Nocturnal 1 did score a 76. I don't know if there's any value here, but maybe if you're looking for a late year pickup and other things fall out, this might be something to turn your attention to.
That was a personal highlight for me, just from a interest sake. I think it looked really cool.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't. It was news to me actually that I'm glad that you pulled the first game score, but a 76 from the first game doesn't make me jump out and want to add it or anything. But it looked cool.
this is one that I have no idea how to judge, but I put it in here because it's a fellow traveler developed game, and that's Scrabdackle
Hmm.
Act 1, which is still showing as a 2025. But Fellow Traveler is the Citizen Sleeper
Publisher,
dev.
publisher,
Um,
publisher only. Yeah,
Publisher.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any insights here? Because I know you're a big Citizen Sleeper guy, Marcus. I don't know how to judge this game. I just got excited when I
A
heard
fellow traveler.
Fellow
Well, fellow
Traveler.
traveler has. I
Yeah.
think they're pretty consistently good publisher of indie games. I don't know that most of them score quite as well as Citizen Sleeper has, but they have put out some good. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm blanking on all the rest of them, but I do know that they've got a pretty decent stable of indies. Um, Scrabdackle, yeah, that one didn't jump out at me. I don't like it's Act One. This is the one thing. It's like a 15-hour Act
Hmm.
One game. I was like, I don't think this is another. Here's another idea that you can write down, John. Should we talk about games that are that come out in different in parts in like different chapters and they're released?
Episodic.
Yes, the
Yeah.
episodic release. I don't think that does most games a good favor. And it probably I don't think it helps in terms of sales, but I also don't think it helps in terms of review scores. So yeah, I'd be a little leery on this one.
Interesting. This next one is maybe the one I'd be willing to take a shot at without knowing too much about it. It's called Dice a Lot. It's out on October 9th, and this looks like a Balatro-ass game. It's a roguelike dice builder or deck builder with dice and some RPG elements mixed in for the game. And obviously coming out soon. I haven't heard too much about this game, but from what I saw and from the vibes it was giving, this seems like something that might actually hit.
Yeah.
I don't have any more spots on my team, so I give this as free advice because I'm not going to be able to make that kind of move. But um, I don't know if either of you saw Dice a lot. This is the one that stood out to me.
I'm
Go ahead, Sean.
sorry, Mark. And this is just my own take on these sorts of things. I get a little like, we've seen this before. Like, we're really just going to be this blatant. Like, we're just like it's the same, but with dice. And maybe I feel bad saying that because obviously people have worked hard on this to make it. I'm not trying to do any of that, but it is tricky to. We're now in a post Balatro world, or Balatro, or however I'm supposed to say it. So you can't. It doesn't have the same. I don't think it has the same bite to it when this lands. Like Balatro came out of nowhere, and now it's like, do we need another one, or do we already have a George at home kind of thing? I don't know. So I don't know if I would bank on it. I'd be very curious to see how this does. But maybe we're in a new era of game. Maybe this is the new, like, Vampire Survivors has 1,000 clones as well. And but maybe to that point, I don't know that any of them have really
They
cracked
haven't broken through.
like Vampire
You're right.
Survivors. Yeah. Like
It's a fair
Bowser from the
point.
Xbox Drive plays all of them.
Yeah.
I think she might be the only one. I'm not sure. So maybe this has all the same, like, ingredients, all the same things that make people like Balatro, but because they've seen it already, they've played it already, maybe it doesn't crack quite as much.
That's fair. I don't know. This was the first time I was seeing this game, but I got a little excited. I got a little excited. The last one I'll just call out from the 6-1 Indie was their one last thing, which was City of Dolorosa, which is coming in 2026, not for this year, but could be something to keep our eyes on for next year because it looked kind of cool.
Very unique,
Very much,
very unique art style on this.
yeah.
Even gameplay, you kind of it's a first person. You're kind of walking through this open world ish environment, hand drawn art, almost like the Paper Mario kind of style art, like the 2D characters within the 3D world, I think. But yeah, it's very unique looking, almost hard to describe. So that's usually a good thing when some these indie games. Something that our good friend friend of the show, Kyle Stevenson, had pointed out when he was on the show is like one of the things that he first looks for when he's identifying indies that he's interested in is the game doing something interesting, different, cool, and then that's the first thing he looks at. And this game, City of Dolorosa, is doing something interesting and cool. Then he might look at
You never see anything like
nothing
it.
like it.
Yeah.
It's very unique.
I want to give Kyle and Mike, like that team, though, like such credit, and Fulia at Carpool, anybody who tackles the arena of indies. I'm so daunted by that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them. It's so difficult to spot the great ones from the mid to the not so great. Like, I think it's so challenging. So yeah, massive kudos to anybody who's trying to keep an eye out on these things. The 6-1 Indie crew, just how do you curate? Like, we talked a lot about this during the Summer Game Fest days, and all the different directs, the cozy directs and the homebrew and all that, like, whatever they were. There's a million of them. There's 1,000 games coming out a day. So anybody who's able to tell us these are the ones that stand out, these are the ones you want to pay attention to, they're doing God's work, man. Like, I just feel like it's understated how much is needed to come to you with a list of here's 5 you should pay attention to, or even 10 or whatever it is. Like, it's so hard, man. There's endless quantities out there.
That's a good point. I tend to like just blank over with some of the really long directs, especially with games that can look the same. I felt like the 6-1 Indie one actually, like, even if you're not interested in a game, everything is kind of, to your point, Sean, curated and different enough that it kind of keeps your attention through, and you kind of just at least like really like trying to understand what the game is, and it does a good job of that. I saw Vice actually did a little call out to them, which is great. It's really cool.
It's a huge deal.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, other kind of news just swirling out there in a hodgepodge. I think the big one that we saw was Dispatch got dated, kind of like Mixtape. This is a game that we were all waiting on to see if it would get a date. It's dated for October 22nd. So for all those that had it, I think they are very excited. I think this will probably go up on the waiver wire list because Dispatch looks pretty cool. Big cast, a big kind of big name cast, including I think is it Aaron Paul? And I
Yes.
know Lana Pierce is in it. So
Yes.
yeah, lots of voice actors that are giving legitimacy to this game. Anything else on Dispatch that you heard, Marcus or
Not
Sean,
really. This
since the
worries me.
name
This
has
is
come up?
episodic as well, right? That worries. That's worry.
Oh, is
I'm
it?
pretty sure it is.
Oh, I didn't know
Sean's
that.
shaking his head. Yes,
Oh, I did not
I'm
know that.
correct. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's concerning. No, I did not know that about Dispatch. I thought it was just
I think this has
free game.
pretty. I mean, I don't have the Fantasy Critic website in front of me, but I think this is pretty high ownership. Like, I don't think it's available on most waiver wires at this point.
Yeah, I think most people already have
Yeah.
it. The other game I wanted to call some attention to was an interesting one called By Sweet Carol, which I know I've heard a couple different podcasts bring attention to, including PSVG. It got dated for October 9th. Very cool looking Disney art style psychological horror game. I don't know how this is going to review, but I am excited to play it. I think to your earlier point, Marcus, it's doing something very different, something that maybe we not have seen before, or at least not in this art style. And I think it could connect, but I guess it's just an open question. I don't see it moving much in any of the Fantasy Critic waiver wires. I don't see many people talking about it kind of in a big way. And maybe that's for good reason, but I don't know. This caught my eye. So it's just something to be mindful of.
I'll be honest, John. This is the first time I've even heard of it. I missed it completely.
You got
Yeah.
to watch the trailer,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Like you definitely. Oh yeah, you're bang on, John. Like they're doing something very, very unique here. It's not Cuphead, but it's kind of like the closest thing I can maybe compare it to is just that leveraging what looks like hand drawn animation. Like it's not 30s style. It's not any of that. It's just that's
Mm.
clearly like a key part to this game's identity is its art style, and then subverting expectations in terms of like the content that it's showing you. It looks Disney, but it doesn't look Disney. If you know what I mean, like the girl's head pops off and rolls around and turns like
Yeah.
it gets very strange. And so this is another thing that's very, I think it's hard to predict. Like anything that goes hard in the paint, and actually I could talk to you guys for hours about that. Like that's kind of all I want is for like games to go like whatever you're gonna do, go hard. Like do the damn thing. By Sweet Carol looks like from the 45-second trailer that I watched, like looks like it kind of does that. Capture my attention for sure, but it doesn't always land. I think another good example of that, if anybody remembers Morphe's Law on the Nintendo Switch, which I thought it was a really interesting multiplayer kind of game. But yeah, no, it didn't didn't land at all.
Listen, we always go back to Harold Halibut.
Yeah.
That freaking Harold Halibut
totally.
that should have been, that had all the markings of a high 80s game and really did not deliver. But
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, other things, I just wanted to mention that Tokyo Game Show is coming up this week. Any predictions? We don't really have too much coming out of there, except maybe there's a rumored Sony State of Play that's upcoming this week as well. Anything from either that or Tokyo Game Show that you want to throw out there that you think we might see that could shake things up still for this year? Obviously, next year will be impacted, but what about this year?
I thought you guys mentioned on one of the recent shows Forza Horizon 6 being Microsoft's only sure thing as far as fantasy goes.
I don't know if we went quite that far, but we said it was probably their best.
You said everything
party.
else was terrible. Yeah. You're like, I can't believe they spent all this money making all these games.
It's rumored to be shown at TGS, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
so.
a good one, but not this year, right? Like,
no,
I
it's
can't
not coming this year. There's no way. There's no way.
Like I'm hoping like Fable and some other things, maybe like other things but I don't think that's going to be there either.
They'll wait for the next Halo game to show up, and then they'll put Forza 8 around that too.
That's right.
Yeah, Sony. I mean, the big one that everybody wants is Wolverine, but whether that's 2026, there's a game that they're going to say is 2026 that I will have very little confidence that it actually releases within the window that they give it.
Dude, that should launch the PS6.
You might be, yeah. You might be right.
Just clip that, and we'll keep that in our pocket for 2.5 years.
Okay. Done.
You're still waiting for that God of War side quest game, Marcus, I would presume.
That's right. Yeah. Me and Jeff Grubb are trying to will it into existence this year because we can't get it off our rosters.
Nice. Well, look forward to be a lot, I'm sure, to digest. Hopefully, maybe we'll have to put something out this week if there's anything big that comes out of that. We'll be watching that news closely. Well, let's see what happened over the past month and what we're dealing with in the upcoming weeks. Let's get into our hype check.
Hype check.
September had a lot of games released. Some of these are not unexpected. Some of them are very unexpected. Starting off with Lost Soul Aside, coming in at a 64. We were very low on this game to begin with. This is even lower than I thought it was going to hit. I'm glad we've been putting people off of this because this is quite surprising that it came in so low. I'm presuming nobody's played this game.
No. No.
Okay.
Surprised to see it quite this low, but yeah, we were not super high on this, so yeah.
Next up, we mentioned this earlier, Indiana Jones DLC, Order of Giants, 72. I am pissed.
Yeah.
This has made my bid for Carpool back-to-back champion much more unlikely. It has put Sean and others in striking distance, and probably means I'm going to finish second in both leagues because of this damn DLC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Anything else on this DLC?
Did you? I can't remember. Did you draft this or did you pick it up like pretty early in the year?
I picked it up. Yeah. Well, once it was announced and it seemed very likely to come out, I think after we saw this second or first trailer for it, I picked it up. And I regret it wholeheartedly.
But here's the thing.
Like, what other DLC was?
That's what I was going to get. That's
what
I'm trying to get at. Like, so what else would have been there that you could have potentially picked up around that time that would have scored well? Probably not much. There hasn't been like the what are the good DLCs we talked about last episode that came out?
Just Sea of
Stars,
basically.
Oh, there was one more, but
Chained Echoes was not bad.
Yeah.
All things considered, Chained Echoes.
But Indiana Jones,
I know,
dude.
Yeah,
should have been a sure thing.
Again, 15-point swing, right? The base game is at an 87, I think, still. So I don't know. Hell Is Us scored a 79.
Yeah,
which is actually not too bad. Kind of more or less where we thought it might land, which is pretty good.
Well, a little higher than me. I mean, I've been talking about this one all year. This is one that I had counterpicked in one league, and then Mr. Capri over here has it on the Carpool league that we're in together. So it kind of did a double whammy on me, not the right direction. So could have been worse though.
Not a good counter pick, and I scored 9 points on this one. I watched the score drop though. Yeah. I think it originally started a little higher, and I didn't realize it settled quite this low. This is my worst game of my lot.
Yeah.
Well, Marcus and I both hope that it continues to go down just a little bit more. Just for my
I'm not so worried about Marcus. Are you like? I don't know how specific you guys want to get into it, but Marcus got a counter pick that I think maybe frees a bunch of us up, but that's fine.
Yeah, we're fine. Marcus is.
We think so. I still don't understand the love for Little Nightmares 3. That's my counter.
Little Nightmares 3 is easy and 80.
We'll see. We're gonna find out. Is that one of the?
We're about to find out.
Yeah, in a couple minutes. Yeah, we're gonna see.
I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. My bad.
No, that's good.
I don't normally have a script, so.
The next one, which we did make some predictions on, Silk Song, the big one. Yeah. I'm just going to say it started at 100 and the internet nearly burnt down. Yeah. Not only did it burn down when the game released and everybody tried to buy it at the exact same time, but it starting at 100 really had, like, at least Blue Sky was going bananas. Yeah. So, which was cool to see. I think that was the first time we had ever seen something like that. It obviously came down. It settled in at 92 currently. That could fluctuate a little bit again, but great score. One of the top scoring games of the year.
And you buried the lead, John. You said 92.
I picked a 92.
That's right.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was happy with that. I hope it stays there. That's my proudest moment of the year. So, and Sean, you actually played this game.
I love this game.
How are you liking it?
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I want to encourage Marcus. Like, don't. One thing I've talked a lot about over the years of podcasting is oftentimes we get these games that become very popular, and the number one word out of anybody's mouth is difficult. It's hard. It's like there's other ways to categorize and describe Hollow Knight. Yes, it happens to be difficult. But you can kind of just play. I don't know, man. Like I play very differently maybe than some people. When I find a part is kind of pushing back on me, I just go in the other direction. And I have an appreciation for the art style, the music, the character design, the level design itself, the way it feels to jump around, the ability advancements. Like there's so much to appreciate. And it's like, if we could just reorder the words a little bit. That's like the first thing is always hard, difficult, and all these things. Like, yes, but it's just as true as how beautiful it is and well designed it is and well thought out it is and rewarding it is to play, and how all I'm thinking about is wanting to go back to this game and all these, and how it's a wonderful evolution from the very first game. All those things are equally true, if not even more true, than it's difficult. So I just want to throw that into the mix for whatever it's worth. And then some people will jump in, they'll listen to me and they're like, no, screw this. It's way too hard.
I have every intention for the record. I have every intention of getting back to it. It's just not right now.
I get it. The time has to be right. Like, I'm a big believer in that. I often talk about just because the game is released doesn't mean it's my time to play it.
Yeah, we had speculated a lot about where this would land and why it might not be as high. The part that's most amazing to me about this is truly that the hype was so high, expectations were so high, and it still delivered against it. That is one of the hardest things to do with like movies, TV, and all that. They did that, and that is pretty fascinating to me because I thought like there's no way they could get back there. Even with the 92 that I predicted, I wasn't super confident in it. So yeah, kudos to them. Then we got Chronos: The New Dawn. I think a lot of people are surprised that this is sitting at 77. This is being drafted quite high. Last episode, we were looking at kind of the tables in terms of how many people were picking this up and prioritizing it, sitting at 77, a little lower than I think most hoped. I haven't played this game. I haven't dug too deep into why it's sitting at 77, but it is what it is.
I think it's kind of around though, right where we expected it to be. Kind of that mid to high 70s. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a little higher, but yeah. Daemon X Scion Titanic Scion. No, Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion sitting at a 70, exactly where the last Daemon X Machina game was. So exactly where we expected to be. We'll just kind of skip over that one. DK DLC sitting at 69, which we already covered, which is insane. And now this one will stop on. Borderlands 4, sitting at an 83. Marcus, this actually bucked the trend that you had kind of predicted with regards to kind of 2K's showing on some of these. 83, pretty good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know what to do with some of this stuff, like John, because like really, we laid out a very good case as to why this would probably be in the high mid to high 70s, kind of following this 2K trend. But if we do look at the history of mainline Borderlands games, none of them have scored less than 80. And so, like from that perspective, this kind of fits right in with that. I think it was the 2K-ness of the IP that was maybe making us a little scared. But yeah, I mean, I remember when people were drafting Borderlands 4, and it didn't even have a date at that point. But I was like, it's not a bad pick, because usually it was maybe like their fourth or fifth pick of the draft, because Borderlands games do score well. So I don't know. I definitely wasn't expecting it to, because it's kind of settled in at an 83, because it was, when it came out, it was like 85, 86. I was like, wow, that is way, way more than I was expecting. But 83, it is kind of actually, it makes sense, I guess, you're looking back at it in hindsight, kind of, if you look at the franchise. So I don't know.
Yeah, Sean, like that's even with all the talked about performance issues. It's sitting at 83 despite all of that, right? I think that's pretty impressive.
Pretty remarkable. Yeah, like when the core of the game is that good, and you can sort of, as I mentioned before, some things you will overlook. I got to get my hands on this one. Like, I can't express to you guys how much I love Borderlands 1 and 2 in particular, but Borderlands 3 was so off to me for actually mostly for performance issues. I know a lot of people talk about writing and whatnot. I didn't even get far enough into it because the performance on it was so troubling to me in such a specific Sean kind of way. It took too long for the map to pop up, and I was out. And I was like, that was it. Like, sometimes, like, so if I was writing a review for it, that would be very tricky for me, because as a person, like, I couldn't get past it. But for a lot of other people, they might not even have noticed that it was taking a little bit longer. So that's a little bit tricky. So I wasn't sure. Like, to me, Borderlands is just one of those games. I almost want to put alongside some others, but I don't want to upset too many people. But it has like this, like, I put it up on a pedestal. Like it should be great, like a Borderlands game. And we kind of heard some behind the scenes stuff kind of coming out about the new BioShock game. As far as like a BioShock game can't be good, it's got to be great. Like I feel the same way about Borderlands. When Borderlands first hit the scene, this looter shooter like this, there's a billion guns in the, I guess it's procedurally generated. Like we didn't even have the vocabulary to talk about Borderlands back then. Like that's how kind of groundbreaking it is. But it also gets mired and muddled with its CEO and a lot of other conversations about it that kind of bring that property down, which sucks. It's like the
Yeah.
game is so rock solid. It's so unique. It's so fun to play. It's fun to play with friends. It's fun to play by yourself. And then it just it's no wonder it ends up with an 83. Like I actually could end that rant with like a yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like nobody knows what the hell to do with this, but I have
Yeah.
like this. This would maybe be an interesting thing to explore. There's certain games and or franchises that like you almost look at them like the kid in class, like oh, if you just applied yourself, you could be so much better. Like your potential is here. Like Borderlands potential is 92.
Mm.
And so
That's fair.
83 is a good score for Fantasy Critic, but Borderlands potential as far as like it's the original DNA so inventive, so bold and courageous and out there. It's like should be up. It should be higher. It's like why Starfield is such a disappointment to so many people because like the pedigree of that team 90 plus, so just a
Should
little
be
tricky.
higher. Should
Yeah.
be higher is an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and Sean, I'm going to come back to you for this next one, which is
Oh,
Assassin's Creed Shadows had DLC, which has
we're
come
all
up a little bit. It
exhausted.
was in the high
We can't
60s.
be
We're at
there's
70.
you can't be putting more stuff into Assassin's Creed Shadows. There's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, there
There's
was
enough
enough.
slices.
There was enough. Yeah, it was big. I don't know, Marcus.
But I mean, just look at
DLC.
it's such a timely episode that we did last month. But like, look at these DLCs: 68 for Assassin's Creed Shadows. The base game had was it what 81, 82. DK 69 for the DLC base game 91, and Indiana Jones DLC 72 and the base game 87. That is such a drop off. Do not look at DLC if you take anything from anything we've said, maybe over the past year. Like DLC is so risky; it is definitely not worth adding to your roster unless you absolutely have to. And even then, like just be as discerning as you can.
Maybe
It's
just
just a
take the
crap
zero.
shot. Yeah,
Maybe just take the blank. Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question for you guys as far as like
Yeah.
what you want to see in reviews. I actually need to look more closely at some of these reviews. I'm hearing like the price conversation happening a lot these days, like the concern about how expensive everything is. Of course, everything from eggs to video games. Xbox just went up again somehow in the US. Do you want to see the price of the content factored into the score? And do you think that maybe that's what's happening here a little bit? Are some of these scores as low as they are because they cost maybe the value proposition isn't where reviewers want to see it?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm of two minds on it. I think something like a DK, I've heard the story, right? You add $20 for that DLC, which is only, I don't know how long it is, but I heard people say like the base game plus the DLC was $90, right? Like you're approaching this like really high number. And the other story around DK is it came out very shortly after the base game. So the other narrative is it was just cut content that should have been in the base game that they just wanted to package and sell, right? I don't know because I'm not a reviewer. We say this all the time. Like, I don't know how much of that actually plays into people's minds. I think when we're looking at review scores, I would hope it didn't. Like, I would hope there's a purity about it, but I do suspect it does come into it a little bit. I compare it to hockey a little bit or other sports. I can't look at a contract and evaluate a player. Like, I can't evaluate a player outside of their dollar value, right? Um, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Sean, you can have me open up a rabbit hole in hockey. But essentially, someone's value in a sports team to me is tied to how their contract affects the rest of the team. And I think there might be some of that here as well, especially when people are, there's a fight for every dollar, right? We saw the only way I see this, we also saw this month developers pissed at Team Cherry for only charging $20, which was insane. That it was being critical of a developer for charging too little for their product. So I can't imagine that things like that, like these discussions, these narratives out there, even if a reviewer is getting a review copy, isn't playing in somewhere in the discourse or how they're thinking about talking about a game. I don't know, Marcus. That's my very lay amateur opinion on that.
I 100% agree that price probably plays a role, especially when it's at the margins, right? Like when it's either a really high price or a really low price. Like, it's going to bleed into reviews. Reviews are, as we talk about all the time, they're subjective things. These are not objective measures of anything. And the price of something, what you pay for it, a lot of these reviewers are getting these codes for free, but the perception of it is has the potential at least to impact their overall subjective experience of that game. It is, I don't know. I don't know how it couldn't. Like it just will. Again, especially if it's at the extremes, at those margins where it happens to be frankly, the Indiana Jones DLC in Canada is $40 for, that's a lot.
4 hours.
Yeah, that is a big, and I don't know. I haven't read any of the reviews. I don't know if that's commented on in these particular ones, but honestly, if I had to pay that and I was playing a 4-hour DLC compared to a full game that would have cost me twice that, like I would be a little bit miffed about that, and it probably would affect my experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. This is like something that comes up time and again. But that's why we say we're not reviewers. We'll, we'll leave it that to the people that are paid to do it. The next item up on the list, Strange Antiquities, only at an 80. This is a little lower than we had thought. This is the same devs as Strange Horticulture, and that game I think was at an 84. We thought this would do a little bit better, but not horrible. Kind of hit that 80 mark.
Probably didn't hurt you if you did happen to snag it. So it's good, but yeah, I think you're probably hoping for a couple points more.
Better than DLC. That's what I always say. Next up, another game that's a little bit surprising. Dying Light the Beast, coming in at 82, kind of bucking that trend as well. We thought this would probably be high 70s, but yeah, it's landing at an 82. Any experience with the Dying Light franchise at all?
This is one where I bought Dying Light 2, high price.
Mm-hmm.
Have not played it yet. And
Yeah.
There's going to be a special term for these games that rot particularly stinky in my backlog. Like they just some just fade away and you don't even remember. I was like, that one, golly, why haven't I gotten to it yet? So, and now another game has come out in this series. So that's how long it's been.
Apparently better.
Yeah.
So
now you got to get this one.
Well, actually, the other one that comes to mind is Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Like I bought that day one and I played it that night and that's it. And now there's a Borderlands game. So I'm really screwing this up.
I don't know if this is a surprise. Trails in the Sky first chapter, scoring a 91. We're going to talk a little bit about this one. I mean, these games tend to do well. This is probably a little higher than I thought it would do. And again, this comes down to who's reviewing this particular game. But this is crazy. This is a game I was targeting early in the year, but unfortunately was picked up because of the people I was playing against. I don't know if anybody has this in their leagues, but this is a crazy one.
I definitely was not expecting 91. I don't know. I'm not the Trails games. I'm not super familiar with. I know they tend to score well. I don't know if we've ever had a 91 in the series. So this kind of caught me a little off guard.
They're always like high 80s, no?
I don't think they're always high 80s. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One of the day. I don't know if it was Daybreak 2. One of the most recent ones, if not the most recent one, was high 70s. It was quite. Yeah. I was going to say quite low. That's not that low, but it's low for the series, I think.
This is crazy, but this has the ability to really change the landscape.
Totally.
An unexpected score, right? At least some games come out kind of expected to do something big like a Silksong. This was not, I think, expected. At least not on our discussion.
Not to this level. Anyway. Not to this level. Yeah.
Then another game that came out trying to put the fear of God into Mario Kart world is Sonic Crossroad Racing, sitting at an 83. It was a little higher when it started. It's come down to an 83, taking its rightful place in second behind Mario Kart. I don't know, Sean. I don't know if you've played this one yet or if
I
you
played
plan
the
to.
demo. I played the demo,
Ah,
and look, I I've talked a lot about the mainline Sonic games, and I don't like them. I've played Sonic racing games in the past, and I haven't liked them. But that was all before I saw the Sonic movies, and I don't know what it is about those damn things. I just love that little guy and his buddies. I just there's something about it. This entire IP has become so endearing to me. And so I was playing it on PC actually just the other day. Like this got a demo on PC, and it just runs very smooth. And I don't know. I don't know. Like I just played a demo, so I can't really comment on whether it's an 83 or a 65 or whatever. But I was glad to just be playing something else other than Mario Kart. You know, it seemed very smooth and a lot of like I thought that the tracks were really interesting from what I could see. And I don't know that I could really say that about Mario Kart World. And I hate that I have to be able to like talk about one and the other in the same breath, but here we are. Um,
yeah.
I just love seeing, I just want to see Sonic do well. I want him to have good games. Like it's such a prolific IP. Yeah, give us some good games, and it's cross-platform as the developers I think pointed out at Summer Game Fest or something like that, which I thought was interesting. So yeah, I'm kind of rooting for this one. I would never have drafted it,
So,
not in a million
yeah,
years. There's
I
just
agree.
too much variability. So yeah, interesting to see where it has landed.
And then finally on this list, a game that I think the scores just got released today. Silent Hill F, or sorry, Silent Hill, as Sean
Yeah,
likes to
I
say.
think you mean Hilf.
It's
Yeah.
yes, Hill. Yes, it's sitting at an 87, which is this is again much higher than I thought. I thought it would be in the 80s, but in 87, and I think it started even a little higher than that, is quite good for the Silent Hill series. Probably falling in line more with the second one, which I think scored quite well, and people are stoked about this. Yeah, doing really well. Lots of excitement.
Yeah, this is about 10 points higher than I think I had pixel prognosticated.
Significant
So
jump.
yeah, it's doing a lot better. And you know, I was starting to get worried when the review leaked on what was it, Reddit or whatever. Somebody posted their review ahead of
Yeah.
embargo.
Like it really
Yeah,
did. Like that was the score. Didn't they say I'm going to give it a 9.5?
95.
Those
Yeah,
dual shockers
It
I'm
yeah,
looking at
was.
right now, 9.5 out of
yeah,
10.
yeah.
Unreal.
So I was like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, we're cooking here a lot better than I was expecting it to be. So
Yes, I famously changed this in the notes right before we started tonight, where initially it was the Dual Shockers news and rumor, and now it's actually the score, which is crazy. So, yeah, good on everybody that picked up that game and believed in it. It's doing really well. And then let's quickly look ahead. We're late in the season. There's not that much to pick from. A lot of times here, Sean, we'll try and flag if there's anything we've talked about or other things that should be on people's radars with regards to what they should be drafting or picking up off the waiver wire. We also try and look at kind of what's been making waves on the waiver wire on the Fantasy Critic page. So there's not that much. I mean, just looking at this, Battlefield 6 continues. So this was pulled. This data point was pulled the week after the direct. So for what that's worth, some of this is explainable. Battlefield 6 continues to do really well, coming in kind of in the top spot. Octopath Traveler 0 continues to show really well, as well as Keeper. Keeper is the one for me where if I had room on my team, that'd be the one that I'd be targeting personally. What about Voyagers? We didn't talk about, but that's another game that kind of is getting a little bit of hype. 45 bids on the waiver wire, and a decent amount of money, $182 beside it. But I never really trust in the Lego games, so
yeah,
Same.
agreed.
yeah, in terms of fantasy creation, you can't really do that. And then just rounding out the list here, Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment did come back up on like rising up the list, which I think we somewhat expected given the release date, 42 bids. And then Silent Hill F. There's a lot of people that
They
got
got
lucky
right at the
on
end. They
that waiver.
waited right to the end, and 42 of them
Yeah,
picked it up and were
yeah.
well rewarded.
So I mean, this has been kind of, with maybe a few exceptions, kind of where things have been the last couple of weeks. I expect next week will look quite different after the Tokyo Game Show. But anything surprise you? Anything that you're still looking at? I think all three of our teams are pretty much set at this point.
Yeah, there's not much. There's not really too
Yeah,
much to say here, John. I think like I'm still a little hesitant on Battlefield 6, but I think like as far if you're looking at a multiplayer game, there's it's probably one of the better potential options for the year, frankly. And yeah, keeper I have on one team, so I am kind of keeping my fingers crossed for that one.
Double Fine's an interesting one because like I feel like sometimes their games are almost too deep and sometimes it can miss its audience a little bit. So I'll be very curious to see where Keeper lands. Battlefield 6, I think all signs point to this doing exceptionally well. It's going to be very popular at the very least. But we'll kind of see how the servers hold up. Like that first week period will be very interesting. It's another factor again, like into this algorithm that you guys have to consider. Like how much does the launch period impact it? Do the reviews go out before that's even a thing? Like it's without knowing like the details of the embargo and the review schedule. It's tricky to predict these kinds of things, which is kind of why I stay away from something like Battlefield to begin with. The last thing I would say on Battlefield is like, I think this is, to your point earlier, Marcus, like this is the zeitgeist game. Like this is where like the mass number of people who are playing, it's all anybody can talk about. There's also like this inherent old school Battlefield versus Call of Duty thing that's going to be happening here as well. That like ultimately is none of these reviews are happening in a silo. All these factor in. And I feel like for whatever reason, people are kind of rooting for Battlefield. They want to see a comeback story here for sure. So if it even approaches that, I think they'll get a couple, like a point or two bonus in the review scores.
Yeah. I don't know what its ownership is, but I still like, of all the multiplayers, Arc Raiders is the one that I would target.
I'm totally with you on that.
Oh, and they just announced, sorry, we didn't cover this in news, but I saw this literally as we were coming in. They're doing, I think, an open beta or closed beta October 16th to 18th, if I'm not mistaken, or the 17th to 19th in that weekend. So there will be more coming on Arc Raiders. That's a good flag, Marcus.
That game's going to be huge.
Yeah, yeah, and that closed beta will tell us a lot, I think, also in terms of where it's going to net out. It's a good point. The last thing I'll just do is kind of like talk a little bit about some games we highlighted that might be still worthwhile investigating, including Mario Galaxy 1+2. Still might be out there, and you might have a weekend from when you're hearing this to pick it up. Dispatch, again, maybe some risk there in terms of the episodic nature of it, but I think there's some heavy weight behind it in terms of talent. And then the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. It's dated now. The risk has kind of gone down a little bit. I would suspect that the pickups for that might go up a little bit as the month progresses, and it's coming out at the end of October. So that's awesome. So let's round out the show and do some pixel prognostications.
Pixel prognostications.
So we're going to kick this off with Ghost of Yotei. Let me just say, Ghost of Tsushima had an 84. I'm gonna start us off here, Sean. So I know you've listened before, but we're just gonna pick where we think this game is going to net out, and we'll kind of go in concentric circles. I'm just going to say right now that I am excited for Ghost of Yotei. I think it's going to exceed. This was one of my locks for the year. I'm going to say this game is coming in at 88. I don't give a shit what.
It was my number, like Eric Lindros. That was absolutely my number. Eric Lindros. Yeah. Damn it. Oh, shoot.
Eric Lindros, okay. 88. I'm setting it. I'm marking it. I don't care about the discourse around this game. I think the first game really set a tone for what expectations, and I think this one is probably going to follow a trend of sequels this year, which is do a little bit better and build off the original and reward the fan base for what they're expecting. So that's where I'm going. 88 is my number. I'm still believing in this game even all these months later from when we first started this journey, Marcus. So, Sean, I have you going second here.
Sure. Well, I really was going to say 88, but at the same time, I was kind of thinking you were going to go over the top with 90. I thought you were going to say 92. Like, I think you're right. I agree a lot with the momentum here. I feel like I'm shocked to see Ghost of Tsushima at 84. The way people talk about this game, they talk about it like it's a 90s, like kind of thing. So I feel like maybe at the time, if I'm guessing, at the time when it was reviewed, like maybe we just didn't know what we had, and maybe the appreciation has grown. I want to check myself before I wreck myself, but this is Sucker Punch, right?
Yep.
Sucker Punch is just triple. They're just the best. They're such a great studio. So I have no problem guessing I'm gonna go 90. I'm gonna go 90 because I was also looking at like what else has gone north of 90, and it's really not a lot. But I'm gonna say 90 on this one.
Well, I would have probably set the over under at 88. So I'm right there
Yeah.
too. So I will take the under though. I think like if anything, if it doesn't hit 88, I think it probably struggles to go much higher than that. So let's say 86 for Ghost of Yote.
This is great. So we got 86, 88, and 90.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tight race.
I
We're
like
all gonna
that.
be wrong by the end of it. But okay, your favorite, Sean, and you're gonna kick us off with this one, Little Nightmares 3.
Yeah, this
Little
is going to get
Nightmares 2
96
scored.
and it's going to bury
Yeah.
Marcus. Not biased at all. I love looking
Yeah.
at what the other ones have done. Again, this is another one that's sort of, I think the longer that time goes on, in my mind anyways, like it separates itself from the limbos and the insides that I think so clearly inspired it. And they sort of get to live in their own space. I believe this is a different team that's doing the third one. So maybe that's where
It
Marcus
is.
is thinking not such a guarantee. But I don't know, man. I think I'm going to go 81 on this one. I'm going to go 81 on this. And that's going to be just enough. If you've counterpicked this and it gets an 81, I wouldn't be too happy about that.
I won't be too happy about
the
it.
Shire game.
I won't be happy about that, but it's not going to get an 81. It's going to get, I say, a 75. And the reason that I say that is what Sean had said. This is a different dev. This is being made by Supermassive, and Supermassive. Go take a look at Supermassive's most recent games.
I know
they are low 70s. I think they even had the casting of Frank Stonewood might have been a 68. Like they have been pretty inconsistent. They've had some hits. Until Dawn was, I think, in the low 80s, but that it's been a while since they made that one. So and those Dark Pictures anthology games that they've done, I think they've had a couple that were high 70s. So
they just need to reset, go back to 2D.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I wouldn't bet on it. And so that's why I say 75 for me.
I'm just going to split the difference and go 78. I think a high 80 is probably the most realistic in this debate, but I'm going to go there.
I'm clearly biased. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, I can't remove it.
All right, Battlefield 6, our favorite multiplayer, and Marcus, this is just for you to set the line. Multiplayer, Battlefield 6. I will say, I think Battlefield 5 was a 79.
Okay.
I'm not confident in that number though.
I feel like I can't go over 80 on this because I've been so anti-multiplayer. So, but I don't.
Correct.
I do think that, like I said, that aside from Arc Raiders of the whole year, I think that I would be most likely to put my money on Battlefield 6 for one I would consider picking up. So I can't go that much below 80, can I? Let's say 78 for Battlefield.
Right.
I feel like that might even be low, but I think I will go 78. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go next. I think Sean may have convinced me specifically around the desire to have something compete with Call of Duty a little bit. I'm going to say 82.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah. I was right there. 82, I think it's right. But man, like we've talked a lot about why this is a complicated thing. Also, this exercise is kind of fun as well. You guys get to do this, of course, every single time. I hope people kind of play along at home. That would be really fun too. It's way easier just for us to throw out a number, but when you kind of frame it of would I pick this? Like it adds to the complexity of it. Like I'm not so certain about some of these scores I've been spouting off. Like would I have taken these games onto my roster? I'm not so sure. So I don't know, man. Like this is such a tricky one. It could go as like it could just bomb. It could be a 70. I could also see this going like finally Battlefield is here and it's EA's might and they're back. So what the hell? Let's go all out. I think this is 86. I think they get 6 on Battlefield 6. They nail it. It's going to be massive. Call of Duty's in trouble. All others will tremble in the wake of Battlefield 6 and the might of Electronic Sports or EA Arts. Damn it, what the hell are these guys called?
Yeah. And then Pokemon Legends ZA, because Sean is also from Canada.
ZA, yeah.
ZA, I actually don't know what to do with Pokemon Legends, actually. I think Arceus was low 80s. Ooh. I'm just going to say 80, because I actually don't know what to do with this game.
Yeah. I'm right in there as well. Arceus was a lot of people were down on it because of the performance of the Switch. I think more than anything, like the gameplay mechanic, like the battle mechanic and the capture mechanic, I think are really, really good in these games. So a lot of it, I think, does depend, oddly enough, on the performance. It's so strange for
Yeah.
Nintendo games to be so judged so harshly on performance, considering we all know these are tablets, right? Like it's not the same. Anyway, so I think it's going to be. Oh wait, how does it work? There's going to be like a Switch 2 version
Switch
and
1
a.
and Switch 2. Yeah, well, Open Critic will just give you the one score. It's not like Metacritic where they'll break it down by console and
Oh,
version. So it'll just be the one. But I would assume that reviewers are going to play it on Switch 2,
I would
would be
imagine.
my
yeah.
Yeah.
guess.
Okay. Well, I'll make it quick. That's going to pull me down into the 70s. I'm going to say
Okay.
77.
Hmm.
Yeah.
77.
I'm going the other way with this. I
Right.
feel like it's despite is it Arceus or Arceus? Arceus?
Nobody
Okay.
knows.
Nobody
There's no
knows.
way
Yeah.
to know.
So despite it, I think it scored like I want to say no. Of course, there's no way to
81,
know.
82.
If only there was a way.
But I want to say it was around like an 84, 85. Like I think it actually
No,
no.
85 is high. Yeah, I think it was a low 80.
Okay, well I'm gonna go 83 for ZA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, like they're saying the performance, especially on Switch 2, is doing a lot better. It's just that it doesn't look as nice, apparently. Like,
Arceus scored
you know,
83.
Okay.
83. There you go.
Okay.
On the dot. So it's staying in that Legends. Okay, going back to Keeper, Sean. Please kick
Too
us
much
off.
variability on this one, man. I
love
think
we're putting all the games that are like material to you, all the games that are very like, tied to your fantasy critic team or
I
tied to like,
know.
Xbox. We're putting them in your wheelhouse to really kick us off.
Yeah, and it's almost like I do need to state biases like that. I love Double Fine. I love Tim Schafer. I love what they even just what they stand for, like just doing something different. I really worry that like maybe people just maybe it misses the mark. Like it's kind of the margin of error is kind of small here. So, oh man, I could literally see this doing a 72 and an 88 all at the exact same time.
Yeah.
So I'll split the difference and I'll
Range
go
is huge.
77. I'll do 77 on Keeper. And I don't want that, by the way. That's the other part of this. I'm just saying like that's what I'm predicting. Obviously I want it to do great, but I just don't know about it.
Well, see, funny, like I actually don't think that there's quite a big range for this game. I feel like this game probably won't get a huge player base. Not, I was gonna say sales, but that's not really that much of a thing for Xbox. So, but like, there's not gonna be a lot of people that play this game, unfortunately. Well, fortunately or unfortunately, but I don't think it's gonna get a huge player base. But I think that reviewers, as they do with basically all Double Fine games, are going to probably like it. And it's going to get obviously enough reviews because it's on Game Pass. It's a big, a first party game. So I see this as probably a pretty safe bet. I think 84.
Oh, that's what I was thinking too. That's a good number.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
a trailer while you guys talk about it. Golly.
It's hard.
It's
Like,
so
no,
unique, man.
yeah.
It's such a
Yeah.
unique looking game.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
I would say 82. I think a low 80 is a
That's good.
safe number for it to
that's
net
a
out.
good
But
one.
honestly, I think Sean, you're probably closer to the floor here of this game, and Marcus,
Yeah.
you're probably closer to the ceiling. Maybe you could get to an 85, but I'm gonna split the difference.
I can't wait to find out.
And then Ninja Gaiden 4, Marcus, why don't you kick us off?
This is one I don't know what to do with this one at all. I feel like I'm just gonna go safe with this. I'm gonna say 80. I really don't know.
80.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. The narrative around this seems a little higher. People seem pretty stoked for this. I'm gonna go 84. Is kind of where I'm thinking this game nets out.
I'm with you. I'm on 85.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll give you
take
your
the over.
I'll give you the first 0.5.
And then we talked about this one, Dispatch. I'll kick us off. Again, could probably go anywhere here. I think the weight of the talent is going to drive a lot of interest in this. I'm going to say, and the writing, I'm going to say 84.
Yeah, I think who's in it does matter quite a lot. Did you say Alana Pierce as well? Like that's
Yeah.
like she's one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so
Yeah.
there's gonna be sort of bias there, I think, as well. So yeah, I think what score did you say, John?
84.
Yeah, I'll go 80. I don't know if I can go that high.
Quite so high.
Yeah, I think I'll go 80. I think that's safe.
And so you're just saying who's in it, as in Alana Pierce, because she's in the games industry, or is it because it's just a big name?
But there's also some big name
And
actors
like
as
you
well.
said, Aaron Paul as well. Like I think,
Yeah.
there's, but I mean, that
Do you
could be an
remember?
interesting
Do
thing
you
as well.
remember 12 minutes? Do you remember 12 minutes?
Yeah, I know. I was just gonna say like it could set expectations a certain
Yeah.
way as well. But
I think that this game has high 70s written all over it, and I'm going to say
Interesting.
78. Yeah.
Wow. I'll be interested. We're going to be one I'll be watching very closely.
those are great calls to make. Like, because I agree with you, Marcus. Some games like they just show to you a certain way, and you're like, what are you talking about? What was the Lord of the Rings, the Shire? What the heck was that game called? Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. That had six. Like I from the moment I saw it, I'm like, I'll counterpick it the second I can, and I
You
did.
did.
And it's like some of those you just nail. So
Sometimes you don't get a DLC review score. Sometimes you get a Tales of the Shire
and
encounter.
that's
It's
the
all
fun
fun.
of all of this. Like some of it seems
Yeah.
very obvious, but we don't talk about the ones that seem obvious and you miss the mark
Yeah.
on. You talk about the ones that you nail.
And then going back to the Carpool Gaming League, Sean, we wanted you to kick us off with your prediction for Outer Worlds 2. Outer Worlds
Man,
scored an 83. And so we leave it to you to decide your own fate here in terms of where things are going to net out.
where did Avowed end up? I think maybe that's another. I feel like Avowed is shockingly high, actually. Avowed Open
I thought it
Critic.
was a
Sorry to
low
do this
80,
live
but I
on the
could be
show
Yeah, it's
wrong.
low
here.
80s for sure.
Oh, it's just 80. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
maybe
Oh,
it
it's an
fell
80.
over.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, okay. I think that
Hmm.
there's more to Outer Worlds for whatever reason. So I don't think it scores worse than Avowed is maybe another way to think about this. So I will go 1 point above Outer Worlds 1. I'll go 84.
Hmm.
It's also the year I was born. It's my pick. It's really integral to my winning this year. I'm going with my birth year. So there you go.
Well, this, unfortunately, maybe is one of my most anticipated
Eh.
games for the rest of the year. I think it's going to do quite well. 84 is a good number, but I feel like I might have to go higher. I don't know. I want to go that much higher. 85. 85. Yeah.
I like it.
Well, I'm going to go off a little bit, just like I did with Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yote. I'm going to say this game is another game where it was I only appreciated after it came out, and I think 83 is probably too low for what the first game meant and what it kind of continues to mean to gaming. And so I actually think it's going to go above that. And just to differentiate myself, I'm going to say 88 again.
Okay.
I don't think it's going
Nice.
to get to 88, but you never know. And I think there's a lot of, simmering hype, I would say, for Outer Worlds 2. And
Simmering hype. Dude,
simmering
you need
hype.
to make that a
It's not,
sticker or
on the
something.
surface. It's like
That's
bubbling.
awesome.
Just it's just there. And
Simmering hype rules. That's awesome.
All right. So we'll let you know how you did. We'll follow up with you at the end of October, Sean, and let you know how this all played out. But I'm pretty sure we'll know based on the Discord conversations and the
Can I
carpool
say I
chat.
hope
So
you're right? I agree with every syllable of what you said. Like Outer Worlds is great. And I think the appreciation for games that respect your time, I imagine this is going to be built in a similar kind of fashion. I think that's going to be a major point to the reviews here. I love space. I love sci-fi. I think it's silly. I think it's irreverent. I think there's all these different things, lots of different ways to play Outer Worlds. So yeah, I'm hoping that Obsidian lands it with this one. So I want it to be higher. I'm just kind of hedging my bets, but I'd love to
no,
jump on that simmering hype factor of yours. That's nice.
no, I think you're right. There's like obviously like the pedigree and stuff. Can they do it? I think they can. I think again, I think what the first one meant for gaming, probably a little bit higher than what the review score for the first game represented. Same as Ghost of Tsushima. Okay, So that's Pixel Prognostications. Before we close out the show, we did have a couple questions come in, so I do want to address them off of Blue Sky, where people can interact with us and ask questions for the show. First question is from Kevin Ainsworth from Save the Game Media, and he cheekily asks, "Did anyone pick up Trails in the Sky first chapter in their leagues?" No, Kevin.
No,
we did not.
We did not, Kevin.
But he is definitely a Falcom guy, and so he's probably really
Falcom or Falcon? Falcon, right?
Falcon.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
it's Falcon.
Yeah.
Falcon Empire. Yeah, exactly. But he's stoked. I don't know. Maybe it's just we're influenced by the people we're around. Maybe that's why I'm just thinking that these games always do so well. But that's just like in my head. It's like the people that review these games are the same people that like love this genre and are kind of like always in that space. And yeah, good on anybody that picked it up. I don't think any of us had it.
No.
You know.
No.
I was targeting it though. I think Garrett Bland stole it from me in another league. But anyway. The other question we had was from Michael Drellish, your co-host, Marcus, on Tiny Game Chronicles. And this is an interesting one. He's asking about 2026 and what are your personal methods to prepare to have a successful 2026 draft? Is there anything you are already doing now to prepare? Sean, do you want to start us off here?
I think I'll prepare the morning of the draft. I think that's when... But that's not the best strategy, obviously. There's got to be a fine balance of, going with your gut and overthinking things, perhaps. For me, like just generally speaking, I kind of want to look at what are the surefire things that are coming out. I want to start with that. I don't know if I've ever taken my first 1 to 2, maybe even 3 picks on anything that didn't have a secure date that I truly believed in. Like I'm not going with seasons. I'm not going with years, which is why I've never picked Silksong, pick 1, 2, or 3 in the past. So maybe the first year, maybe when Xbox said it was coming out within 12 months, that might've been a time where I would have jumped at it. So yeah, I'm kind of filtering for that, but otherwise I'd be lying if I said I was prepping for 2026 really at all. I wish I was, because that sounds good. You want to be prepared.
Kind of started tonight, Fire Emblem.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah, this.
Yeah.
Starting now. How about you, Marcus?
Yeah, I haven't done much of anything to this point other than, our monthly get-togethers here, John, to talk about things. And, I guess I keep tabs a little bit like Sean and kind of the big heavy hitters that are going to be coming out next year. So you kind of have that in the back of your mind. I also try to keep tabs on the games that have gotten pushed from this year into next year.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of a loose lineup, or at least, a handful of games that you're probably got your eye on for next year. But as of like exactly where those will all slot in terms of my draft, I haven't gotten that far. We'll probably get those towards the end of the calendar year as we're starting to prep for next year for the show, really. That will be when I'll start to do most of my research. So.
Yeah, maybe a slight spoiler here, but I think Marcus and I are hoping to do a bit of a special episode that is kind of draft prep for 2026 as the year closes out. So before draft season starts, and hopefully that'll be useful. And that's probably when we'll really turn our attention to that. I had started a list, not just of games pushed, but of like hidden gems at indies that like really looked cool that didn't have dates that I wanted to keep track of in the future. That lasted like a month because it's just too much. But I look forward to pulling that back up. And
you guys should publish a magazine. You guys should publish like how like the fantasy, like the look ahead of the year, like the best drafts and everything. You should totally like just publish. It's a PDF or something like that would be incredible. I think that would just be awesome to do. The other thing I would say,
Marcus's notes alone,
dude, I'm telling you guys, I feel like you're the right guys for it as well. Like I think you're inclined. I feel, Marcus, you're reading tonight's notes on paper as well. So
yes.
Yeah, I think,
yes.
I think maybe that might work out. I want to back up the truck a little bit because I have a better answer as far as prepping for next year. I'm not thinking about necessarily what games or the strategies or anything like that, but I am actively bringing forward lessons learned this year into next year. Lesson number 1, when there's a direct or a showcase or literally anything at all, I've got to set a reminder, at least look at it. Like I may not pick everything up every single time, but I really hate the feeling of getting blindsided when I get that notification that X game was picked up, like Super Mario 1 and 2 got picked up by so-and-so. And it's like, I wasn't even I watched the direct, I'm covering the damn stuff. I can't be missing that sort of thing. And I think it's automatic for you guys. So this isn't anything new for you or probably most people listening. I cannot miss a showcase and then go review my Fantasy Critic. Like it's just, that's a
It
huge
kills you.
lesson this year going into next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
here's the thing that maybe, you know, this is probably an offline conversation, but the public bidding is something that happens in one of the leagues that I play in, and you
Yeah,
get
true.
notified. I have it set up to email me notifications about when the bids go in, so I know every week which games are being bid on. It's harder to be kind of make the sneaky pick if you're on
Sneaky.
top of things.
I like the sneaky pick.
Yeah.
Like I give kudos
Yeah.
if you got Mario or I actually got Donkey Kong for less. The 3 leagues at Carpool, I got it for the least amount. If I was in the other 2 leagues, I wouldn't have won the bids. I didn't bid enough. So like all sorts of like kind of interesting things. Maybe even like taking notes on the people who I played against. I might even start doing some of that. Like, oh, this is what Marcus does. I might take a look at some other leagues. Maybe there's some prep that people can do of like publicly viewable leagues and just kind of see, oh, there's a common thread of the top teams that won. They had this game or these types of games, these types of things. That could be interesting. Maybe some, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of like logs that you can review. And there's a lot of storytelling that happens with
They
these.
give you the full
Yeah.
history, and I know like Steve Fallon, who's the head of Fantasy Critic, he also has a lot of data,
Yes.
a lot of
I'll
data
bet.
points that I'm sure he'd be happy to share. But yeah, it's like, you know, don't give away your secrets on the podcast you're hosting monthly to the people listening that can use that. That's always a tricky thing to accomplish as well. But I agree, and don't put any DLCs on your team. That's another lesson learned to
Definitely
carry
not.
forward to next year.
Yeah.
Unless it's horse armor.
That's yeah, I think that's going to do it for us though. That was Hype Factor episode 12. I just want to say thank you, Sean. That was great. You know, like I said earlier, you've interviewed us. This was kind of a really special thing to be able to have you here and chat through some stuff. I know I was having a bit of a surreal moment talking Nintendo with you and talking Nintendo Direct with you. So just, you know, a big thank you to you and to Carpool for everything that you do, and look forward to seeing how our season closes out. So thank you again.
Well, thank you guys for having me. This has been amazing. It's when friends start a podcast, you just kind of go like, guys, I'd love to be on. So I hope I didn't screw things up. I know I'm long winded and maybe one of the longer episodes, but just chatting through this, I love the cerebral nature of it. I think you guys are perfect for this subject matter, and the way that you cover it is awesome, and it's entertaining the way you break it down, all the different segments, the guests that you've been having on. Like it's just, I'm really proud of you. This has been a fun time to sit and chat, and I can't believe it's just the first year. Like you're really going to start thinking about next year. It's like next year for Fantasy Critic and also for Hype Factor. I can't wait for your magazine publication. I can't wait for your Simmering Hype sticker that you'll release, and the collection episode that you'll do. Like the possibilities with the show are kind of shockingly endless. So I'm really hopeful that if people are listening for the very first time, go back and check out the other episodes as well, like get a sense of the cadence and the growth that you guys are already showing. And the end of the year is always very exciting with this kind of thing. Like if it's this fun now to talk about, I can't wait for you guys to get to experience podcasting through this in December and in January in particular. Like that's going to be so much fun. We got the Game Awards coming out as well, and all the announcements that kind of feed into all this stuff. So I'm going on and on, but I'm just really appreciative that this is a different podcast. I haven't done a show like this, and I've done all types of shows. Like this is really unique. I've had an absolute blast with you guys. So it's been great.
Thank you so much. And with that, maybe we can take the opportunity for you to let people listening know where they can find you, where they can find Carpool and all the content that you guys are putting out over there.
Sure. We put out about 17,000 hours of content a week, I think, across carpoolgaming.com is where you can find pretty much all of it. The Xbox Drive, the Nintendo Drive are the shows that I'm on. We also have the role-playing game cave or the RPG cave as well. Tons of other stuff that people can find at youtube.com/carpoolgaming. We go live and I stream either playing a game, or I look at Excel spreadsheets and release calendars and a bunch of random stuff at twitch.tv/carpoolgaming live. And you can get all the shows ad-free, the one entire ad-free feed at patreon.com/carpoolgaming.
And if I may, they're also just entering into fundraising season, as Carpool does an amazing job at fundraising for Extra Life. So if you are looking to participate in support Extra Life, just go over there. I know that I'll be helping out and participating as much as I can this year as well. But thank you again, Sean. That's awesome. And Marcus, where can everybody find you?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Sean. I haven't expressed my gratitude as well. I really appreciate you coming on and all that you've done for us and the community, over the years. So thanks for that. You can find me on Blue Sky at Marcus O'Neill 79. And as I often mention, I do another show, Tiny Game Chronicles, where every other week, me and my good friend Michael, we talk about a tiny game, a game that would take about 5 hours or less to complete. And we do a little deep dive on that game. So if that sounds interesting, I would encourage you to check it out.
And as for me, you can find me at John32 on Blue Sky, and Hype Factor is also there on Blue Sky and X, where you can send us in questions, comments, which we'll be happy to incorporate into the show. And if you've liked what you've heard so far from Marcus and I, please think about giving us a positive 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. It's always much appreciated. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you again to Sean. Everybody out there, go check out Carpool Gaming, and until next time, get hyped.
Remember, the information provided is for entertainment purposes only. Hype Factor does not guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any advice or predictions offered. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that you are solely responsible for any decisions you make based on the information provided. We strongly encourage you to Fantasy Critic responsibly, and remember, this is just a game, and in no way impacts your status as a gamer. Hype Factor cannot be held responsible for any damages resulting from bad picks, drops, or overall Fs on your season.